talk about what is the difference between FRM Part 1 and Part 2. Well, Part 1 has 60 chapters, Part 2 has about 103 chapters. So the very first difference is that the amount of content in FRM Part 2 is huge. Secondly, FRM Part 1 had a mix of quantitative and qualitative. But when it comes to FRM Part 2, it slightly inclines toward the more of a theoretical or qualitative side. So again, that's one difference between FRM Part 1 and Part 2. The major challenge with FRM Part 2 is that since the amount of content is huge, there's going to be a challenge of retention. In Part 1, you may not face a problem of retaining such a large content, but when it comes to Part 2, content is huge. There are 6 books, right? So just think about it. Let's say in Part 2, the moment you start with book number 1 and the moment you reach to book number 4, you tend to forget the previous one. So retention is going to be a major challenge. So what you should be doing is that you should be preparing some sort of a notes, or possibly if you can get your hands onto the crash course notes, that's going to be really helpful in your journey of retaining such a vast amount of. That's it, the difference between the FRM Part 1 and Part 2. I'll see you in the next video.